there were wonderful actors that they asked back for a couple of months to do a show at the Kennedy Center as a sort of repertory thing. And I went back and did a bunch of Tennessee Williams one acts. And I had to, because it was theater and it was the Kennedy Center. Come on. That's like being asked to go to the White House and I don't know what, do a play for a month just to show to the brass. But Kennedy Center is so best. Oh, wait, I'm putting Kennedy, and that's New York. And it was New York. It wasn't in DC. That was the other theater I did, but the Kennedy Center, New York, that to go back, I had to do it and did. But I don't know, it's like losing my mind. I know I am.
It's a fast pace in soap operas.
Oh, and oh God, here we go with Young and Restless. So they let me go. But then I realized that it's so much more fulfilling than racing through something and not doing the kind of job as an actor you want to do, which is a fault of mine, especially in this atmosphere now where it's quick, don't think about it, just do it. I'd rather think about it and give it everything I've got. And that's not in theme now and not in vogue at all.
It's a whole different.
The soap was very tricky. I loved everybody there. They were fabulous and wonderful. One time my acting partner threw a set of keys at me in an impulse on the scene. It cut my arm wide open. And, in the soap, when it happens, you have to just sort of keep going. And I just tucked my arm because I had a feeling, I didn't want to look, but I had a feeling I really hurt myself because it really hurt. And we went it through and finished the scene, and I'm gushing blood. As it turns out, when they said cut, I'm gushing blood from the keys ripping my arm. And he had never done that until the take. But see, that's what happens when you are really getting into it. But you don't have that much of a leeway with daytime soaps. You got to, if you don't fall off the chair and break your nose, print, move on. And that kind of got to me. Wow. I loved the people. I loved the character. It was tricky after a while. And it takes a certain breed of actor too. Just, okay, we'll go with it or whatever.
Right. It's a whole different skill set.
It's just definitely.
Well, speaking of a different skill set, in Young and Restless, you look at like an Eileen Davidson, who has, been there off and on for so long, now she was a part of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills.
She was?
She was. And I mean, Lisa Rinna, who's an actress, is still on there. Garcelle, Beauvais. I mean,
so what do you Lisa's going back acting? Because Lisa, for the longest, forever, was Housewives.
She's still Housewives. She's still there.
But to go back to acting, that's a big step that she hadn't done for years. Meaning she was on
Real Housewives, and she's still on it. She's not going back to acting yet. But I mean,
she hasn't. So right. She wasn't interspersing.
No, she's 100% Housewives.
That's where I think it's hard. If you're doing, and I've done. And it's like having two boyfriends. I've always said only one boyfriend at a time for me. I can't do the juggling. I get too shaky on both. What about him? But what about, it's too schizophrenic. I got to give one boyfriend all I got. And you can take that anywhere you want to, but you got to be true to one and then move on.
It's a different skill set. I mean, what do you think of even like actresses that are now Lisa Rinna has a huge force on Beverly Hills Housewives. I mean,
is she?
Yeah. I mean, like if I had told you when you were filming Knots Landing that Joan, one day there's going to be this thing called reality TV and actual actresses are going to be on it, you would have told me I was crazy.
No, I hear you and you're right. But that reminds me of this thing I did just this past Saturday. I better be sure. Oh, Jerry O'Connell and Rebecca Am I saying her name?
Yes, the Love Boat.
The Love Boat. I was at, because I guested 4 times on Love Boat.
I know.
I said earlier. So they invited some of the long timers or the most frequent Charo was there, as I said, but it was a cocktail party dinner on this brand new ship that is like Manhattan on the water, meaning that big, that with staircases of mirrors and lights and curved brass banister. I mean, to die for. This ship is to die for. And it is a city on the water. And they were going to leave that night later. And so I went to this party and they presented everybody, a couple from the original show. It was and that is on what I thought was for taping it's on tonight, the 5th of October. But by the time this airs, it's been on, I'm guessing. So, but I think that's going to be a big hit. It's like The Bachelor and Bachelorette, and it's on the water.
I just had Jerry on. I just talked to Jerry last
Oh,
week.
did you?
Yeah.
Oh, is he a sweetheart? I'm sure he is.
He's great. And I mean, listen, the real Love Boat, like they're the best. What a great choice for hosts, right? They're the perfect choice, those two.
They are that. And I think the show, because reality isn't always fantastic. Not that I would balk at, having fun on something like Joan, Donna, Michelle doing something, I don't know what, interviewing makeup people or whatever. But I think that is this effort of the real Love Boat with the reality aspect of it and cruising in the Mediterranean. Come on, that's got a little of everything there. So I'm not acting for sure, but.
What about, what about new projects you're working on? You said you're working on a bunch of stuff.
Oh, I've done a couple pilots that were done during COVID. But, with, what do I want to say? The presentation is kind of like what we're doing in a way. So you're, Patrick Warburton plays my husband in this thing. You have to sign a non-disclosure clause. And Patrick Warburton is my husband in it. It's a crazy take on something. It is animation, but we did all of ours, virtual and whatever. And I went to a studio, I think, for pickups on it when COVID got less frightening. But I've done that. And there was another thing that's in the offing. I'm trying to remember what, Idle Chat. No, we did do Idle Chat too, which Susan Anton has on the Family Channel. She's hosting it. And it was the three of us. And I think it was sent to you if you hadn't seen it. But that's the most recent on camera that Joan, Donna, and Michelle have done on 3 high stools with our portraits behind. So funny. Portraits behind us and chit-chatting about, all of this campy, fun, real, the whole ball of wax. And that was an hour presentation with her.
And I know you've been doing some voiceover work too.
Constantly, yes. And that, as I say, is with my head stuck in my daughter's clothes closet with a box